Hi, I'm James, and welcome back to Storytime with James. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave me a comment if you like. All right. This one is called Road Rage Revenge. Yeah. Look, I once got into a road rage incident. Man, I don't recommend this for anybody, because it's kind of bad. Look, I was driving along listening to Roger. Do it, do it, Roger, do it, do it, Roger, do it. Let me do it. Yes, yeah, yeah. I was listening to Roger, and then when I saw bright lights behind me, it was raining a little bit outside, so I politely moved over in the next lane. I just moved over in the next lane. I was driving a Chrysler Cordova, okay? And they were driving a Buick Century. So he got behind me again. So I switched lanes again. Then I brake checked him. I brake checked him. And I looked back and saw them laughing. It was three of them, so I was kind of cautious. Look, when we got on South Chicago, they were on my bumper. So I brake checked them again. You know, that made them mad. So I switched lanes again, then I slammed on brakes. And with the momentum they were going, they slid past me. What they do that for? What they do that for? I was on them. I got behind them and I floored it. And they couldn't get away. I was on their bumper. We were passing by, Cat's Auto. It's a junkyard, where you can get parts and stuff like that. We were passing by Cat's Auto when all of a sudden they lost control and skid up on a curve. Yeah, they went on the curve. The curves were high. They were high over there. The curves were kind of high. So their whole front end was trashed. Yeah, it was trash. And they were bleeding at the nose and mouth and stuff. And I drove up on them and I gave them a few choice words. And then I mashed out. I was gone. I was gone. But I thought about it later on. Later on that day, I sat there and thought about it. I said, never, ever will I let anyone make me, excuse me, make me lose my cool again. Yeah, never will I let anyone make me lose my cool. So, again, I don't care how ignorant they are. Maybe they're ignorant. That don't have to make me get ignorant either. Unless necessary. Yeah. Yeah. So, let this be a lesson to me and anyone out there that's got road rage. You know, you never know what could happen. Somebody could lose control and crash into a tree or something like that, and they can really get hurt. They can really get hurt. And you can get hurt too. So don't entertain that. If somebody won't get from behind you, call the police. Keep driving, but call the police and let them get behind them and then get them, okay? Because it's not worth it. All right. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave me a comment if you like. And hit that bell notification. Hit that bell notification so that you know every time I drop another video. And share, share, share. Share my videos with your family. Share them with your friends. Share them with your loved ones. and even share them with your enemies. Adios. Salamat.
Salamat! Don't do that anymore.